Well, thank you everyone for dialing in. Uh, Welcome to the 3-day demo series on BA, that's Business Analyst Training Program. So, what we will be doing for these 3 days is try to understand what a BA does in the IT industry at a high level. Okay. Then, next thing, what we are going to do is we will be trying to understand how this course has been structured to help you learn the concept of business analyst. Okay, so let me write it down as well. One is to understand what BA does, who a BA is. Second is about the training program that we have written. So how this training program helps you learn those concept of business analyst so that you can perform your job effectively. The third part of this training program will be to understand some of the wider aspects. For example, what is the difference between a business analyst and a data analyst, okay? Or even for that matter, difference between business analyst and scrum master. And then at the last, we have one more topic, that is impact of AI. Okay, so nowadays everything is revolving around artificial intelligence. So how artificial intelligence can put an impact on the role of business analyst. Okay, so again, welcome everyone to the 3-day demo series on business analyst. All the all the while during this 3 days demo, I'll be making this running notes. So as you can see on the screen, I'm typing in something on the notepad. So whatever notes I'll be preparing, we will be uploading it to the Google Classroom link. If you already have access to the Google Classroom link, good. In case if you are wondering what a Google Classroom link is, from where can I get it? Okay. You can contact us on this WhatsApp number. You just ping in and mention that you are attending the 3-day demo series on business analyst and that you need link for the Google Classroom so that you can access all these documents even at a future date as well. Okay, so with that introduction, let's get started. Now, the first thing that we want to obviously understand before diving into what this training program is, how it is structured, how much duration it will go on for, what kind of certifications will I be getting, what kind of career growth can I expect, what are the jobs perspective. So before getting into all those details, it is important to understand a little bit about business analyst. Okay, so that we set the expectation right among all the group. If we know what to expect from a business analyst, then it helps us be on the same page. So business analyst. Now, before I get into this, okay, I just want to understand from you guys, what's your expectation? Okay, so you guys might have done some type of research, some type of analysis. You would have come across some information. Maybe your friends would have told you. Maybe you are interested in business analyst role. So what is your understanding of a business analyst? What does a business analyst do actually?
They are mediator between clients and resources.
Mediator between client and resources. Good.
and they will analyze the business, and they will set up the stories and all using Jira likewise.
Good. What else will they do?
uh, Converts the business document into ideology for developers and prioritize their works.
Create business requirement document and prioritize the work. Good. Now, just to provide, all 3 points mentioned over here are pretty relevant to business analysts, but just to provide context for others as well. So what happens in IT industry is basically we have a client who is looking for a software. Okay, so let's say there is a client who owns a business. The business could be anything. For example, I could be owning a shop. I could be owning, let's say, apparel shop, or I could be owning a laptop showroom wherein I'm trying to sell laptops. Okay, it could be anything. Now, once I have a business in place, nowadays all businesses want to go online. Now, what's the difference between a regular individual business and a small to large scale business is the complexity. Okay? The number of people that are involved, the number of vendors that are involved, the number of hops that are involved in the businesses. Maybe if I'm doing some business individually, it will be not that complex because I'm trying to take care of everything. But if you take, for example, health insurance, life insurance, or banking system, or educational system, all these they will be pretty complex because of the number of people that are involved, number of vendors that are involved, number of impacts that they make. So, in order to streamline or process through everything, they want some kind of software. Okay, so they want some kind of software that can help them manage their work effectively. For example, I can build up a software for attendance, marking attendance of all the employees that are working in my office. I can have a software for tracking my employee data. I can have a software for allowing my employees to mark for any holidays that they are taking on or vacations that they are going for. Okay? Could be for any HR management work, library management work, vendor management, for anything. Now, when a client requires a software, what they typically do is they approach someone in the IT industry. Okay? That IT industry will try to work with the client to understand what they really want and give them a working software. Okay? So they expect a software over here, and the IT industry is trying to build a working software for the client. Okay? Now, in order to build this working software, there are bunch of people involved, and as we go through in our training program, we will study in detail how these people are structured together. But let's say there will be a project manager who is responsible for ensuring that everyone is given some task, everyone is working on their task as expected, that there are no roadblocks occurring, that if there are any problems, issues, those are addressed, that client is being communicated of how we are progressing through, that the upper management of the IT industry is also communicated about our progress, that everyone is happily moving forward. Then other than project manager, we have business analyst as well. Then there will be a developer, a quality analyst, and there could be other people involved as well, but let's just focus on these people because they are primarily responsible for building the software. There could be a support team, there could be deployment team, but they are not primarily involved in building up a software. Okay, so a business analyst, like rightly mentioned by other students, a business analyst mediates between the client because client is coming up with some expectations and only client is aware of that expectation. Okay, but others in the IT industry, the people don't know what exactly client is looking for. Okay, I mean they have a general idea of what they want, but if you ask, if I tell you to implement something with the general idea, that is almost impossible. Okay, it is almost like telling anyone go somewhere. Where should I go? Okay, so if I tell you go somewhere on vacation, you may pick up a place that may not be in line with my expectation. Okay, so a business analyst mediates between client, and instead of calling resources, we usually refer to development team. Okay. In the world of agile, we call developers and QAs, quality analyst, both as part of the development team only. So a BA mediates between client, who is also known as stakeholder, and development team. Okay, so what is this business analyst trying to do by mediating between them? So a stakeholder has a very high level idea or a vision that maybe I want an e-commerce shopping website. Okay, that idea is good to have, but what should be the features of my e-commerce website? How is it going to be different from the others? How are we going to upload data onto the e-commerce platform? How is customer going to access the e-commerce website? Okay. We need to get answers of all these questions as well before we start creating any software, any product for you, or even software product or application for you. Okay, so a BA tries to set up using different elicitation techniques with stakeholders to understand in detail what exactly are they looking for. Okay, so just having a high level idea or vision is not enough. In order to build any software, we need more details. Just like telling you go anywhere on vacation is not good enough. I must tell you the exact location where we want to go. Okay, I cannot tell you come to office and not share the office location with you. So similarly, stakeholders or clients, they know what the industry is heading towards, what they want, but it's just that they're providing details at high level. It's not that they are uh, by design hiding the information, but it's just that they are not sure which information to share, when to share, what can be helpful. So business analyst is driving those discussions using elicitation techniques to understand or to extract information out of stakeholder. Now whatever information is extracted out of stakeholder, that information must be documented somewhere. Okay, we just cannot keep the information inside our head. That is where we get these requirement documents, that you take those information, put it in a requirement document. Then in order to track the work efficiently, you help set up stories. Okay, user stories. Now what are these user stories? How are they written in Jira? That all we will cover once we go through the training program as well. Now, just having a requirement document with the expectations of the stakeholder, having a user story alone is not enough. We must prioritize as well. Okay, I can give you 10 different work and tell you finish all the work in one day. Okay, and then you may come up to me and say that these 10 work are not at all possible. How do you expect me to finish all these 10 work in one day? I can at max do only 4 out of 10. Okay. So basically, when you can do only limited number of work in a given time, what are you telling me? You are asking me to prioritize the work. That out of these 10, help me help me note down the top 4 work that you want to do so that I can finish them first. Okay? And why prioritization? Because it helps identify business value as well. Now, other than these, as a BA, we will be responsible for requirement modeling as well, where we try to create a flow chart of what is expected from the software that we are trying to build, how the software is supposed to function. Okay. We will also see how do we manage product backlog within Jira. Okay. Then different categories of requirements, different type of documents that we end up preparing. What are those documents? What are their significance? Okay. The documents can also be referred to as artifacts. Okay. Artifacts seems a nice word rather than referring to documents. So what are the different artifacts that we will be preparing right throughout our journey, so that we understand what they are, how they are utilized, and when they are utilized. Okay. Now, with this introduction, we will get into what the training program is now. Okay. Basically, the business analyst training program that we have curated, what that is, what will be the duration of the training program, what are the prerequisites of it. Okay. So since we are going to cover a lot of information, so we will be utilizing today's time and some time of tomorrow's as well in going through all this. While we are covering these details, okay, you are feel free to ask your questions. Okay, I'll be taking pause in between so that I give you an opportunity as well to ask questions. If you are asking some question which we are going to cover, let's say tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I may park your question for tomorrow. Okay. So don't think that I'm not willing to answer your question. It's just that maybe we are going to cover the topic that you are asking tomorrow, so that's why the question has been parked for tomorrow only. Okay. Now before we jump forward, okay, again, just a reminder, all these notes will be uploaded on the Google Classroom. If you want access to the Google Classroom, if you already have, good. If you don't have, please WhatsApp us on this number. I'll put it on the chat as well.
Any drawings need to draw by hand? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sorry, was there a
Any,
question?
yeah, any drawings need to draw by hand?
Any drawings by hand?
Yeah, like flow charts and all. We need to draw like that. I'm asking.
Oh, absolutely. So we said requirement modeling over here. So that will cover the flow chart aspect. Okay. And in this training program, we will be learning about Draw IO tool that will be used for helping us to draw these flow charts. So that all will fall under requirement modeling only.
Okay, no need to draw by hand, right? Because I don't
No,
know
no, no.
drawing.
No, no. It is up to you. If you are an artistic kind of person, if you like to draw things on the fly, then go ahead. Otherwise, in today's world, if you ask anyone to write something, it will be difficult to understand because we all are so much habituated to typing on laptops, desktop, that we are comfortable typing, but we are not comfortable writing anything. Similarly, you can draw something online, but drawing by hand, difficult.
Yeah, generally science background people can draw all these things. Remaining people can't. So that's what I'm
Yeah. So let's move forward and let's understand how this training program has been structured. Okay. So, like I mentioned at the starting of this demo series, this will be 3-day demo series starting today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. So, Friday, 18th of October, we'll be concluding our demo series. Okay. So the intention of the demo series is to create awareness about business analyst training programs because a lot of opportunities are being created right across the business analyst domain. And as the year starts, that is starting January of 2025, usually companies go for hiring. Okay, so we want people to be prepared before the hiring season starts. So January, February is when companies decide their outlook for the next year, and then they go and hire people. Okay. Now, this entire before we get into this training program, we will understand all these different aspects. Okay. For example, getting to know about your trainer, what are the prerequisites for this training program, some of the myths around business analysts, the course content that will be about what are the different topics that we are going to cover, what tools are we going to learn as part of this training program, what timelines are we looking at, that means the duration of the training program, how it will be structured, what's the outcome of this training program. So once this training program is complete, what can I expect to learn, or where will my knowledge increase, in what areas. Then how are you going to help me prepare for the jobs, things like resume preparation, things like interview questions. So how are you going to help me prepare for the jobs as well. Then what are the different certifications that I can look for related to business analyst, and what does the career growth look like as a business analyst. Okay, eventually we all are working because we want to grow our career as well. So how can my career grow as a business analyst? Okay. So we'll be trying to cover all these points over next day as well. Okay, some of these points I'll not try to force everything into one day. So we'll be trying to cover as much as possible today and remaining tomorrow. And like I said, then we will be covering a wider topic of business analyst versus data analyst, BA versus Scrum Master, and impact of AI on business analyst related roles as well. Okay. Now, guys, if you would have observed, my name is Rahul Kumar Dubey. I started working as a developer in the IT industry approximately 13 and a half years ago. Post working for 3 years as a developer, I switched into business analyst role. Okay, so we were working for a large US health insurance client, and they wanted us to perform some of the roles related to BA as well, and that's where I started switching over there. Now I have worked extensively on waterfall model because when I started the industry, waterfall model was pretty normal, and then gradually we saw the shift to agile. So I helped teams move to agile as well. I learned about the aspects of Scrum, how do we help team with Scrum adoption and stuff. Now, right, because I started my journey as a developer, so I have a little bit of inclination towards technology, though I don't try to understand in deep sense what the technology is, what are its use cases and all, but I can, to an extent, I can understand what developers are talking about, not in great detail. So that's how my career has evolved. Right now I'm working as a product architect, okay, again for a US health insurance client, because I started my journey with banking, then health insurance, but I have stick to the health insurance part. Okay, so as a BA, you will realize that along with the technical skills that you should have, one more important skill is to have domain knowledge. Okay. So a BA is usually admired with good domain knowledge, and if you keep switching domains every 1 year or every 1.5 year, it is difficult to acquire domain knowledge, and that's what I also did in the starting. So later on, I just stuck with the US health insurance domain and then tried to build my expertise over there alone. Now, what are some of the prerequisites for this training program? Okay. Now, the first one is, actually I could categorize or classify this prerequisites into three parts. First one is education related. So preferably, if you look at any education degree, what do we usually look for? So we look for any bachelor's or graduates, okay, or master's degree or postgraduates. Now, some of the criteria can vary from company to company as well. Like, for example, some of the companies may not allow a BCom student, a Bachelor of Commerce student to get into the IT industry directly unless you have some prior experience. But preferably, if you have BTech, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Technology courses, or if you have gone through MBAs as well. So usually, or BCA plus MCA, Bachelor of Computer Applications plus Master of Computer Applications. So these degrees are widely acceptable and preferred within the IT industry. Okay. Others, like a Bachelor of Commerce, is subject to the IT company itself, okay, whether they allow students there or not. But in general, both bachelors, graduates and postgraduates are allowed. Okay. Number two for prerequisites is your current role. Suppose you are already working in IT industry, but let's say you are working as a developer. You are trying to write down code on day-to-day basis, but finding it difficult to keep yourself up to date with the latest changes that are happening across the development space, or maybe worried that in future maybe I'm not going to write the code, maybe the artificial intelligence will do the code itself. So what should I do? Okay. So whatever could be your worries, whatever could be your apprehensions, okay, irrespective of that, you want to switch to BA. Okay. Now, if you are already working as part of IT industry, then the education part, sometimes take a back seat. If you're already working there, then people are more interested in what is your current role, and then they give you your next role based on the current role. So that's the, if you're already part of IT industry, good. You switching from, let's say, a project manager to a BA, a developer to a BA, or a quality analyst to a BA would be relatively relatively easier. Relatively as in, when compared to the people who are part of the non-IT industry. The last would be where your current role belongs to a non-IT industry. Okay. So when you are working in non-IT industry, again, like I said, and I tell it to everyone, you must have good domain knowledge. Okay, since you are not directly coming from an IT industry, or you don't have an IT experience as such, it is always good to accumulate a good domain knowledge. So suppose if I have worked in banking domain for 8 years, I should preferably applying for a BA jobs in banking domain, okay, or IT industries which are looking to hire BAs with banking knowledge. Okay. So that will be really helpful for me as well, because I'll be able to truly demonstrate my knowledge as well. For me, clearing up interviews become relatively straightforward. But if I have no IT industry experience, if I have no domain experience, then how should I clear the interview? And that's where the last part, the training program will help. Suppose you have not worked in IT industry, or you don't have domain knowledge as well, or maybe you have worked in IT industry but you lack the appropriate knowledge of the work. Okay, so this fourth point is not a prerequisite as such, but it is more to help you guys. Okay. So most of the time, people who are in IT industry, they already know what a BA does. Still, when they appear for the interview, they are not selected. Why? The simple reason being, anyone can tell me what a BA does. Even a developer can tell me. Even a BA can tell what a developer does. That does not mean BA can play the role of a developer. That does not mean developer can play the role of a BA, because in IT industry you pretty much know what the other party does. But what is more important is getting yourself acquainted with the technical terms. Okay. For example, look over here, mediator between client and resources. Okay. What would have been more appropriate is mediator between stakeholder and development team. That is just one example I'm pointing out. When you are working from a non BA perspective, you will be using very general terms and not the technical terms that a BA may be aware of. So irrespective of your educational preference, irrespective of your current role, the training program helps you get acquainted with those technical terms that you must be using, starting from the training to the interviews and even into your jobs as well. Okay. That's a very simple difference, or that even I as interviewer, when I talk to anyone, I can identify whether they have truly done the work of a BA or not. Okay. A non BA person would often tell me that BA will talk to client and get requirements. Okay. A BA, a person who has worked as BA, will not use the word will talk to clients, will say that will conduct meetings with the stakeholder using appropriate elicitation techniques to gather requirements. Okay, so that would be the difference. A BA would try to infuse all these technical terms in their answers so as to make the other person believe that, hey, I am working as a business analyst. Whereas a developer will just try to explain what they think of BA, not what a BA does. So irrespective of your prerequisites, the training program will help you get acquainted to those technical terms. Use those terms, if not in your office, at least right throughout this training program. Okay, so that we don't have to memorize these during interviews. Through our training programs, we will keep using these terms often, so that they by default become the preferred choice of word whenever you speak out in interviews. Okay, so people who want to transition from non-IT to IT, people who are in IT but want to transition into BA role, can also opt for it. Okay, Just there is one caveat that I would like to mention over here, and that is particularly for freshers. Okay. Now, for freshers with no work experience, that is no IT, no non-IT, nothing at all. Maybe they just graduated in the year 2024 and they're still looking for jobs. So if you are a fresher, I suggest you going through some of the internship programs. Okay. So there are multiple websites like naukri.com, okay, intern internshala.com. Go through these websites, look out for relevant internship opportunities. Do internship for, I would say, 6 to 7 months, if not more than that, and then you come back and start looking for the BA jobs. I'm not saying there is no BA job at all for freshers, there is, but assume that the number will be less. Okay, so mostly people will be asking for more experienced BAs, business analysts. So if there are 10 jobs for a BA with experience, compared to those 10 jobs, there will be only 3 jobs for freshers. Okay, so if you are a fresher with no prior work experience at all, then consider building your profile by going through some internship programs. Okay, where you can be given hands-on practice, you do the internship, you get the certificates, and then come back and then apply for the BA roles. It's not to discourage any freshers, it is just to better prepare them for the future. Okay. Now, what are some of the myths or assumptions around business analyst profile? Okay. So one is a BA needs a coding background. Okay, which is not true. A BA is a technical person. Okay. We have discussed over here a BA closely works with developer and QA to help build a software. So a business analyst is obviously a technical person, but what kind of technical person? Who is involved in sharing requirements with you, about sharing the expectations of the stakeholder with you. Okay, a BA is not responsible for writing down the code. Now if you are inclined, if you are interested towards writing down code, that is up to you, but a BA is not supposed to write down the code. Okay, a BA is supposed to be more inclined towards the business aspect, how the business is executed, how is client going to benefit out of it, what are the pain points of my client, what kind of challenges are they facing in their industry currently, how can I build a software which can help eliminate their pain points or the challenges, or streamline those solutions, at least for my client. Okay, so our inclination should be more towards the business part, how the business is run, and how can we help our client or stakeholder by utilizing our IT industry expertise in eliminating their pain points. Okay, our inclination should not be towards the coding side of it, how to build a software, what technology to use, whether we should build the application using Java, Python. Okay, that is of no relevance to us. What is of more relevance to us is what kind of challenges are being faced by the stakeholder, what is their vision, what is their goal, how they run their business, what are their pain points, how can we streamline our software with respect to the business being run by our stakeholder. So that's the first point, that does does a BA require a coding background? No. As a BA, we must be good in communication, things like being able to clearly communicate our idea. When I talk about communication, people often think that communication means a good vocabulary. Okay? That's not the case. A good communication means You are able to clearly express your ideas. Others can comprehend or understand your idea. You can comprehend others' idea. Okay. If you feel you are not good at communication, probably business analyst is not the role for you, because in our day-to-day life you will be interacting a lot with many different stakeholders. You will be talking to business stakeholders, you will be talking to project manager, developers, you'll be talking to QA, you'll be talking to architects, you'll be talking to even management as well, to explain to them what the client is basically looking for. Okay. So you will be interacting with a wide variety of people. So communication becomes a key. You cannot skip it. So if you are not good at communication, probably business analyst may not be the profile for you. But if you are good at communication, if you are being proactive, okay, if you are good at managing things, managing as in if you can keep a tab of what was discussed, if you are good at making notes, BA is definitely the profile for you. Okay. In all these points, I'm nowhere talking about what about the technical skill set at all, like coding. Now, the first 2 points are kind of mingled with each other. The third point we have already covered to an extent on the previous slide. A fresher cannot become a BA. Okay. So I have already explained, maybe a fresher with no work experience, okay, will definitely have job opportunities, but a limited set of job opportunities. And what happens when you have a limited set of opportunities? You must build your profile very strongly so that others cannot ignore you. Okay. Imagine if you are a fresher and you are trying to apply for a job which basically is looking for fresher, but similar to you, 20 other candidates are applying. Okay. Now, for an organization that is only looking for, let's say, 5 freshers out of 20, what does that mean? That 5 will be selected, 15 will be eliminated from that process. Okay. So obviously you don't want to be a part of those 15 who are eliminated. So how do you ensure that your profile first gets selected? Second, that you are able to go through interviews. Third, that you are confident enough to work. So for those things itself, I was suggesting that you go through some of the internship programs, okay, to give you the required confidence, to give you the required boost, and then you start applying for these fresher jobs. Okay. The last is the point that you often heard is we have SMEs. SMEs stand for subject matter expert, people who have built expertise in one subject. Okay. So we don't need a business analyst because we have subject matter experts. So I have someone who knows banking domain in and out, who has worked in banking domain for 20 years. So I don't need a business analyst. So business for a business analyst, the knowledge of the domain is just one aspect. Okay. If you see the discussion that we started, they are primarily working as a mediator between stakeholder and my development team. They are responsible for identifying requirements from stakeholders, documenting those requirements, setting up user stories in Jira, prioritizing those stories so that my development team can accordingly pick up the work. Okay. In all these points, we didn't talk about the domain knowledge yet. Okay. So domain knowledge is just one aspect of business analyst. A business analyst does lot many things other than domain knowledge itself. Whereas an SME is primarily responsible for the domain expertise. So just because you have SME does not mean that you don't require a business analyst. The business analyst is adding lot more value than what an SME has. Okay, so everyone has their own work items. Now, before we start looking at our course content, I'll take a pause over here, see if there are any questions that you might have.
I have one question like I have a medium communication knowledge. Before completing the course, can we pick up like
Oh, absolutely. So, what can you do to basically pick up the communication? One that I advise everyone to do is, suppose if you are interested in politics, or maybe you are interested in sports, okay, then what we usually prefer is to watch videos, to read articles basically in our native language on the topics of our choice. So what I suggest them is just do a small change in your activity. That is, start watching videos related to politics, related to sports, whatever is your interest area, in English. Okay. So you start consuming videos in English, you start consuming articles or newspapers in English, preferably videos, because nowadays we are spending lot of time on YouTube, Instagram, all those different social media platforms. So as much as possible, try to find a topic of your choice. Usually we try to see English videos which are not relevant to my area of interest, and then soon we get bored out of it. So if you want to build communication, the better part will be start consuming English videos in the topics of your choice, at least for half an hour to 1 hour every day. So that will help you not just improve your communication skills, but will help you get to how do we use those certain words around. Okay. And second, I don't think you have a medium communication. I mean, you are able to communicate your ideas. So I think you have good communication skill, but it's just that maybe you are considering with respect to vocabulary that I don't have a good vocabulary as such. So vocabulary is something that you can build over time. Okay? In interview, no one will be evaluating your vocabulary. As long as you are able to clearly communicate your ideas, more than enough. If you want to improve on your vocabulary, then definitely follow some good English channels.
okay using technical words and all a little bit problem. General words only I use it to talk. So
Yes. So we will be going through those technical words, okay, because normally you won't find those technical words being used in the videos. So when we go through the training programs, we will teach you those technical words, which word you can use, okay, which words can you avoid, especially during your interviews, so that you give an impression to the interviewer that you are working as business analyst. To build the communication to build the communication around those technical words, you need some level of confidence about speaking in the language. So that can come if you consume some time at least watching English videos, and not just English videos, but even trying to have a general conversation with your colleagues, with your friends as well in English if possible. Okay.
Hello, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Praveen.
Uh, Nothing but though the business analyst does not need to work in a technically, but they are expected to do a POCs, right? Using the some of the tools, right?
So
POC.
a
Hmm.
a BA may have to create a prototype, a design as such. Okay, so through a flow chart, you may create the design of a website, that this is how the website may look like, but it is nowhere close to a working website or a working model at all. Okay. So as a BA, you may present the design that, okay, this is how your house will look like, but you won't start constructing the house, or even you won't construct a door also. So for you,
Okay, okay.
prototype will be creating a design as in creating a flow chart of how the application will look like. That's it.
Fine, fine.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Okay.
during the delivery time, the business analyst will manage the development team, right? To deliver the tasks on time, like that, because they are expected to report to the clients, right?
So actually we have project managers or scrum masters in place. So they are primarily responsible for managing the development team directly, whether the development team is doing their work efficiently or not. Now, some of the organizations, if there is no scrum master available, they may ask you to do the management work for some time, but that should not be a full-time job. Okay? Your full-time responsibility, if you are managing your team, then when are you going to talk to stakeholders? When are you going to get requirements? When are you going to do your job? Okay. So ideally, you will have Scrum Master or Project Manager responsible for ensuring that the team is working as expected or as per the timelines. Okay. And not a BA would be responsible for managing the team. But yes, you definitely want to be aware of any roadblocks that the team might be facing. Is that roadblock related to a requirement? If yes, how can I help as a BA? Yeah, I must be proactively knowing about all these. If it is a technical roadblock, then probably there's nothing much I can contribute, but maybe I know some technical point of contact, so I can connect my developers to the technical architects or other technical SMEs so as to get their doubt resolved. But do I manage them on day-to-day basis? Do I ask them on day-to-day basis how much have you completed, how much have you not completed? No. So that management part is on the Scrum Master or the project manager for them to manage the teams on how they ensure that everyone is utilized, how everyone is working towards the larger goal. But yes, if there are any deviations, roadblocks, let me know because I need to, like you mentioned, I need to update the client if there could be possible delay in the delivery of software.
Okay, thanks.
And one more question. For one project, testers are there, 5 or 6 or 7. Developers also, so many people are there. For one project, one BA is there, or they also have the one team. SMBA is there, likewise.
So nowadays, with everyone moving into Scrum, so what happens is the ideal size of a Scrum team should not be more than 5 to 7 people. Okay? So if I take 2 developers, 2 QA, one Scrum Master, that leaves me with one BA only. Okay? So if I have 5 QA, 5 developer, that means that is already exceeding the Scrum team size. So maybe I want to divide the team, but the general thumb rule we follow is between every 4 to 5 development team members, there should be one BA. So when I say development team members, including both developers and QA.
And the work also will be continue, like suppose after the receive the requirement, testing will be started, and developer also after receiving requirement, coding will be started. In BA also continuous program is there, or any particular time it will be finished and next work will be started.
Oh, absolutely. For a BA, you will, let's say, you will prepare 10 requirements. Okay. So a developer will pick up, let's say, first 2 requirements. A QA will be working on those two as well. So now what happens is out of 10, only 8 are left. So what happens is while a developer is working on writing code for the requirement, while a QA is working on testing that code, I, as a BA, will be working with my stakeholder to gather next requirement. So what is next for our software? What can we further improve, enhance on the software, so that by the time developer looks for more work, I have the requirement ready. Okay, so it's a parallel process. Developers and QAs will keep pulling requirement whatever you keep writing. So it's not as if I'll write 10 requirements and done. Maybe you will write 10 as the first set, then another 10 as the next set, then another 10. So you keep writing down new requirements by having discussions with the stakeholders. Maybe when there is not enough work, we identify pain points in our softwares as well. That is our software good enough? Are there any areas of improvement within our software? Can we communicate those areas to the stakeholder? Let's see what they say. If they agree and pay for it, we will work on improving software. Otherwise, we majorly rely on our stakeholders to keep giving us next set of requirements. Okay, so it's a continuous process. There is nothing like a final version of the software. You will always have regulatory compliances. Sometimes you will have security fixes. Sometimes you want new functionalities, new features. So owing to all these, there will be some or the other work always at your hand.
There is no rest time, right?
There will be rest time. So if you are particularly working for let's say a US client, okay, so in US, from the fourth week of November, when the Thanksgiving start, till the first 2 weeks of January, they usually don't work much. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's usually not much work during those, you would say, 2 months. So generally in IT industry also, what people will do is they'll plan their vacations, everything around that time frame, because there is not much work during that phase. So out of 12 months, you will get 2 months of some relaxation. Any other questions, guys? We are at 8 a.m. IST. If no questions, we'll close our demo for today. We'll be connecting tomorrow again at 7 a.m. IST, and we will start with the remaining topics like the course content, the timelines around the course, career growth perspective, and other relevant topics. We will continue with it tomorrow as well.
Hi, I
Okay.
have like a couple of questions. I'm a working employee with a non-technical background, and I don't have any domain knowledge. And if I want to gain a domain knowledge, what would be the better to know the domain knowledge? What is a good domain knowledge to learn at like a fresher?
So, Anil, right now, the banking industry and the health insurance are like kind of booming. So, health industry, because of the US health insurance part, and banking, because it's an evergreen field. Okay, so if you want to build domain knowledge, or if you want to take any domain trainings, or if you want to learn anything, there's plenty of resources out available for free on internet. Okay, so you can start with either banking or health insurance. That would be a good starting point.
Is these things will be included in this training, or do we need to train in separate days? Uh,
So domain,
as you said.
yeah. So domain training is not covered in this training program. This is more about helping you understand what a BA does, the technical concepts like requirement modeling, requirement prioritization, user stories, backlog grooming, all those technical topics related to BA, what a BA does on day-to-day basis. In order to do their job efficiently, a BA often requires the domain knowledge as well, or the domain expertise as well. So that is not covered because there is no one domain to cover as such. Okay, if there is only one domain, probably we can include this in the training program, but there are various domains like insurance is one such, banking is another, the natural resources. You can think of wide variety of businesses, retail, e-commerce, and every business will require some type of domain knowledge. So that's where this training program, if we start covering domain knowledge, the training program will never end.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, guys. We'll connect tomorrow at 7 a.m. IST again, and we'll continue with our remaining topics. Okay. So thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.